How does the MP3 format work for podcast audio? Imagine trying to fit a long story into a small bag without losing its essence. That's what MP3 does for audio files. It compresses sound so you can share and listen easily. MP3 stands for MPEG-1 Audio Layer 3, and it is the most popular format for podcasts because it keeps a good balance between sound quality and file size. When you record a podcast, the raw audio is usually very large, making it hard to upload or stream. MP3 compresses this by removing sounds that most people can't hear well, like very high or very low frequencies. This process is called lossy compression because some original data is lost, but the sound still feels almost the same to the human ear. The key to MP3's efficiency is its bitrate, which is how much data is processed each second. Bitrate is measured in kilobits per second. For voice-only podcasts, a bitrate of 64 kilobits per second in mono is enough, which keeps the file small. If your show includes music or multiple voices, you might want to go up to 128 kilobits per second in stereo for better sound. The sample rate, which is how many times per second the audio is sampled, is usually 44,100 samples per second. This matches CD quality and helps keep the sound clear. When you record your podcast, it's best to work with an uncompressed format like WAV during editing. Once you finish editing, you export the final version as an MP3. This makes the file smaller and easier to upload to hosting platforms like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. These platforms accept MP3 files because they are compatible with almost all devices and apps. Smaller files also mean less bandwidth is used, which is helpful for listeners with limited internet or data plans. Most listeners won't notice a difference between a high-quality MP3 and the original recording, especially on smartphones or headphones. If your podcast has lots of music or complex sounds, you can choose a higher bitrate, up to 320 kilobits per second, to keep the quality high. But for most talk shows, lower bitrates work fine and keep the file size manageable. Sometimes heavy compression can cause artifacts, noises like hissing or warbling, that can be distracting. Using recommended settings helps avoid this. Also, because MP3 files are small, they are easier to share, which can be a concern if you want to protect your content. However, for most podcasters, reaching a wide audience is more important than worrying about piracy. Always use a sample rate of 44,100 samples per second for clarity. Choose 64 kilobits per second in mono for voice-only shows, or 128 kilobits per second in stereo if your podcast includes music or multiple voices. Keep a high-quality master file in uncompressed format for editing or archiving. Adding metadata such as episode titles and descriptions helps platforms display your content correctly. In summary, MP3 is a practical choice for podcast audio because it offers good sound quality in a small package. It works everywhere and is easy to distribute. Understanding how bitrate, sample rate, and stereo or mono settings affect your files helps you produce the best sound possible while keeping your files easy to upload and listen to. For most podcasters, MP3 provides the perfect mix of quality and convenience, making it the backbone of the technical workflow.